Hello and welcome to Wildlife with Pete. This is the first in a series of episodes that I'm going to be making, and as you've probably guessed by the name, it's all about wildlife. So I'm going to take you with me as I travel and explore New Zealand's natural wonders, discover some of its wildlife, and also find out about the conservation efforts being made to protect New Zealand's native species. So I'm here on the North Island at my local nature reserve, and I'm going to take you with me as I explore the area and see what animals I can find right here on my doorstep.
This area has a rich gold mining heritage, and in fact just on the other side of this reserve is an active gold mine. Gold mining started here in the late 1800s, and with it came changes to the natural environment. The area where this lake is now situated was once a mixture of native bush and wetland. There would have been home to many bird species and endemic amphibians such as the Hamilton's frog, which is one of the world's most endangered frogs and is only known to survive on offshore islands. Areas like this reed bed are a great habitat for small fish and invertebrates, which also attract birds like the sacred kingfisher or kotari. One of New Zealand's best known birds, they can usually be spotted patiently waiting on a power line or somewhere else high up in search of prey. As I made my way up the hill of the reserve, the sun was shining and you could almost be forgiven for thinking it was a late summer's day, especially when watching this honeybee collect pollen from the heath. As I got to the summit of the hill, looking out at the view, it almost felt like I was in the Shire, but with the gold mining going on behind me, I suppose it was more like Land of the Dwarves. Back down the bottom of the hill, things were a little bit cooler and it was clear to see that autumn was in full swing. So I've spent a lot of time in nature. I've been lucky enough that I studied a conservation degree and then went on to do quite a few different jobs within that kind of area of work. But one thing that is new to me is videography and photography, something that's always interested me, but mainly I think not having the self-confidence, the self-belief that it's something that I could do, stopped me for a long time, and also not having the extra money to spend on cameras and things like that, which is kind of what I'm going to talk to you about now. And this won't be something that I will do regularly in these episodes, because I don't have a lot of technology, but there obviously are a few things that I've had to buy in order to make this channel. So the first thing obviously is the camera, which I'm talking to right now. I bought it second hand. I was lucky because I kind of knew what camera I wanted. So I'd seen the Canon R50, which is kind of Canon's entry-level mirrorless camera. Did some research and I was like, yeah, that sounds about right for me. But even at the kind of entry-level price range, it was still a bit out of my budget. So luckily enough, I managed to find it second hand. Got a really good deal. And yeah, it's worked great so far. I can't fault it. I'm not, like I say, I'm new to all this, so this isn't a review of the camera because I don't know enough to review it. All I can say is that it's made my photography and stuff better than it would have been on a phone. Anyway, and then the second thing that I'm kind of wanting to talk to you more about today, which I've just bought, literally used it, took it out of the box for the first time yesterday, is a lens, a zoom lens, because anyone that probably does any wildlife photography or videography, especially birds, knows that without a zoom lens you've really got no chance. unless you're doing it in your back garden and they come into a feeder or whatever, you've got no chance at getting good shots of birds in the wild. So again, this isn't a review. Maybe in a few weeks when I've used it a bit more, I can tell you a review, but this is more from a beginner's perspective. I knew that there was some things that I needed, and one of them was a lens. So I bought, to go with the camera, the Canon RF 100-400 lens. I'm not going to go into any other specs than that, because to be honest with you, like I said, I don't know much. I just know that I've watched a lot of reviews, and yeah, it kept coming up as a really good lens, and again at a very good price range. It's the one thing that I've actually bought that's brand new. Everything else has been second hand, but yeah, I'd seen a few second hand ones, but they weren't any cheaper, so I bought this brand new, and it's been unreal. So like I say, it's not a review, but it's 100% made. My videography and photography, something that I can actually do. I've been using it all day today, and I've got some good shots. And I actually used it last night in this actual area, just literally in the trees behind me, to get the footage for this week's Animal in Focus, which will be something that I'll do on every episode, where I choose an animal and we'll focus on it. We'll tell you some information, hopefully show you some footage if I've managed to get some, and yeah, talk about the conservation efforts, if there is any that are being done to help the animal if it needs it. Maybe it doesn't, which is great. But yeah, so the footage of this week's Animal in Focus, I would not have been able to get if it wasn't for this lens. I'm still shocked that I managed to get anything. You'll be able to see with the footage, it's not great, it's not perfect, but it wouldn't have been anything if it wasn't for the lens. And also just a little bit of luck as well, because long story short, came here yesterday just to try out the lens, had a walk around, it was late evening, seen the usual, ducks, fantails, couple of tuies. I really wanted to see a kingfisher. We're being next to a pond, a lake, but didn't have any luck finding one of them. And then just as I was on my way back to my van, I went off just off the path into some trees, because I seen some fantails, and I thought I'll just get some last shots of the fantails before the sun goes all the way down. And yeah, so I'm in the trees, took some pictures of these fantails, and then turned to my side, and I honestly don't even know what made me see it, but probably 30 metres in front, just sat in a branch, was, well, I'll tell you what, I won't tell you, I'll just show you. But this was complete fluke. I was on my way home, really wanted to find this animal. I'd actually spent some time looking for one the evening previously, but didn't have any luck. But yeah, I stumbled across this one, just sat on a branch, and I could not be happier. I'm over the moon. Yeah, so here it is. This is this week's Animal in Focus, and I'm not going to spoil it. Here we go.
Animals in Focus.
As the sun was setting and I was on my way out of the reserve, I stepped off the track to try and get a few final shots of a fantail that was just catching bugs mid-air. And as I turned to the side, I couldn't believe how lucky I was. There, about 30 metres in front of me, sat in a branch, was this morepork, or a ruru as they're known by the Maori people. It had just about turned twilight, that period of low light just before the sun completely sets. But a few moments later, and this owl would have been just a black silhouette, almost invisible to me and any unsuspecting prey that might be unlucky enough to come this way.
Both its common names of moorpork and ruru come from the owl's call, which to European settlers sounded like a strange voice coming from the forest asking for more pork, while the Maori gave it a more gentle name of ruru. A skilled nocturnal predator, they prey on large invertebrates including beetles, weta, moths and spiders, but given the opportunity they will also take small birds and mice. Like many other owls, their soft wing feathers give them the ability to fly silently amongst the trees, catching their prey using large pointed talons and a sharp beak. The moorpork's large round yellow eyes give it excellent binocular vision, and although the ears aren't visible to us, an owl's hearing is so sensitive they could hunt by sound alone. The population numbers of the moorpork are considered at normal range, and the conservation status is at least concerned. But although this might be true, conservation groups believe that the numbers are actually declining due to loss of habitat and predation. Other threats include poisoning, so if the owl was to catch a rat or a mouse that had ingested poison, then it too would die from the toxins. In Maori mythology, the ruru is said to come from the underworld and is strongly associated with visiting spirits. In some Maori tradition, the hineruru, or owl woman, is believed to be an ancestral spirit in the form of a ruru. They act as a ketiaki, or guardians, and have the power to protect the person they visit. I feel very lucky that this moorpork allowed me to be in its presence, and respectfully I left as the sun set and it began its nocturnal hunt.